What is going on, my Super Sandwiches? Rhymestyle here along with Dragon Ball Nation and Kwame, and today we'll be discussing something very interesting that surfaced the internet, all thanks to Kanzenshuu, who decided to dig into their Akira Toriyama archives, and they found out something very interesting that Toriyama said a long time ago in 1997. Dragon Ball Nation, Kwame, do you know what that is?
No, what is it?
No? Kwame, do you know what I'm about to talk about?
Maybe.
Maybe. Okay, so essentially, it was a long interview with Wired magazine that Toriyama did around the time when Dragon Ball Z first finished its run. And it was specifically his frustration with the creation of the series. There's one thing that he didn't like. There's one thing that he didn't like, and that was the fact that when he completed the story of Dragon Ball Z and basically handed it over to Toei to animate, there's something that they didn't get right, they being Toei, didn't get right. And that's the fact that they portrayed Goku as a righteous hero type of character, which is something that we always kind of viewed as Goku as that type of persona that he had, but that's not the way Toriyama wrote him, which is funny and weird. And now that you think about it, Goku never really was a righteous hero type person. In fact, he was very selfish, he was kind of an ass, and he, risked everybody many times throughout the series of Dragon Ball Z, and I guess Dragon Ball as well, and endangered everybody multiple times just because he wanted to fight. So essentially, just to give you a breakdown what Toriyama said in the interview, but he basically said, there's how basically Son Goku from Dragon Ball doesn't fight for the sake of others, but because he wants to fight against strong guys. So essentially that means that Goku doesn't fight for the sake of, saving the world, saving the universe. He fights for the sake of fighting, which, obviously makes sense now if you think about it. The rest of the sentence says, so once Dragon Ball got animated, at any rate, I've always been dissatisfied with the righteous hero type portrayal that they gave him. I guess I couldn't quite get them to grasp the elements of poison that slips in and out of sight amongst the shadows, which basically means that if you watch Goku, he does a lot of questionable things throughout the Dragon Ball Z series that we will cover in this discussion, in the next couple of minutes. But essentially, Goku was never meant to be a hero. He was just meant to be a guy that loves fighting, which is kind of funny because that's essentially what he is. But Kwame, what do you think about that?
Well, to be honest with you, when I first heard about this whole release by my friend Zom, who told me about it earlier today, I found it interesting because it's like you would have always thought that the portrayal was supposed to be the same, and if you actually look at it from the manga perspective, because I know not everybody has read the manga, it's kind of different in portraying Goku's will to fight for others versus to fight, I guess you could say, for the thrill of the fight itself. And there have been many examples throughout the entire series that kind of showcase this. For example, when you look at the fight against Frieza, Goku could have wiped out Frieza right then and there.
Easily.
And he chose not to because he wanted to see what Frieza was at his strongest. But you know what, Rhymestyle, I think is an even better example, I think the best example in the whole series? When they were preparing for the android threat, right after Trunks had killed Frieza and King Cole, and Bulma was telling him, well, you know what we should do? We should use the Dragon Balls to wish and find out where Dr. Gero is so we can stop him now. And then Goku's like, well, that's not fair, and plus, I want to see what these androids are like, and Vegeta's like, don't ever do that. And it's kind of like Goku was on Vegeta's side with that one, and like, he's putting all of these lives at risk, and technically he kind of caused this thing to really happen, because if Goku had decided to take out Dr. Gero, then the androids wouldn't have been released, which means that Cell would have come back for nothing, which means that they could have just dealt with imperfect Cell instead of having to deal with Cell absorbing them and then killing people and all that stuff. So really, that was kind of a selfish thing that Goku did in a way, and although Goku's always been a good guy, I found this topic really interesting.
Yeah, even if you look at the Buu saga, he didn't want to finish off Majin Buu because he wanted Vegeta to have a chance to fight him. Like, this is the poison that Toriyama referred to in that interview. And it's funny because I never thought otherwise of Goku's portrayal as, like, I always thought him as a hero. I actually always seen him as one of the greatest heroes of all time. And here we have the creator of Goku saying that basically he's not a hero, he just likes to fight. Dragon Ball Nation, what are your thoughts of all of this that just kind of resurfaced again, thanks to Kanzenshuu?
You guys said pretty much everything I was thinking. Of things I can add, though, I mean, Goku is someone that loves to fight. I've always known that. I have looked at him as a good guy because of the anime and Toei's, portrayal of him. One thing I could say, though, not exactly pertaining to him wanting to fight himself, he tries to get others to fight, like you said about him wanting Vegeta to have a chance against Buu. He also didn't kill Fat Buu because he wanted Goten and Trunks to have a chance of saving the world, and he wanted to let them take down the pedestal. One thing I thought was always interesting is in the at the Cell games, he let Cell beat down Gohan because he knew that Gohan had that hidden potential, and he just let his son get beat down that whole time. That's pretty brutal in a way, and I mean, a good guy should usually step in at that point, but I could see where, you know, he wouldn't necessarily be called a pure-hearted hero in a sense, but this information is very interesting, and it's interesting to hear from the big man himself what he thinks about how the character is portrayed and what he really, you know, intended the character to be, really.
Yep.
Because it's all information that hasn't really been surfaced before and touched upon.
It's funny because, like, even if you look at his history in defeating his villains, he never defeats his villains at all. And this entire time I thought, well, maybe he doesn't want to defeat his villains because he wants to be, you know, that guy that gives the villains a chance to change. When in reality, what he was really probably doing is he wanted them to survive, get strong, and fight them again. I mean, he killed a total of 2 villains in the entire Dragon Ball Z series, and that was Yakan and Kid Buu, right?
Well, I mean, if you don't count a lot of minor characters that nobody cares about, then yeah.
Yeah, essentially there was only 2 villains that he defeated in the series. But now it makes a lot of sense why. It's not because he wanted to change. He wanted him to get stronger and get better and fight him later. Like, Goku's an asshole. That's kind of funny if you think about it right now. I feel like we just, like, ruined a bunch of childhoods. Like, oh my god, this whole time I thought Goku was a hero. Well, don't let that kind of change your opinion on him, because at the end of the day, Goku is still a hero. It's just, he fights more for himself than he does for the sake of protecting, I guess, which is funny because he's known as a protector of the universe. But like, even if you look at like Goku's character, I mean, he had Goten and just left for 7 years. Like, he went, you know, he stayed dead. Like, he done a lot of questionable things. So the question I have for everybody is what's your favorite scumbag Goku moment of the series? Which I'm going to ask you guys as well in a couple seconds. So to those watching, in the comment section below, comment your favorite scumbag Goku, you know, like moment. I'm curious to see what everybody likes the most. But Kwame, what's your favorite scumbag Goku moment?
Wow. I mean, it's kind of hard considering how nice of a guy Goku is. But I think it would probably actually be against Supreme Kai in the Buu Saga. I think off the top of my head, that's the first one that comes to mind. And you know, you probably might know exactly what I'm talking about because Supreme Kai was saying how they needed to like get together to stop Babidi, and then like Goku puts like a blast in his face.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna say that. I knew you were gonna say that. Nation, what about you?
Damn, I was thinking a different one, but I have to agree with Kwame. But the one I was thinking of before he mentioned that actually was when Goku had thrown Cell to Senzu Bean. That was pretty interesting. But he is a very selfish individual. Yeah. At times in terms of fighting.
I actually have a very unique one that I don't know if you can consider this as a legit option, but mine will probably be when he didn't teach anybody instant transmission. If you count that.
Me and Kwame have talked about those special abilities, haven't we, Kwame?
Yeah, I mean,
but there would be a lot to get into.
I think that's more choice instead of scumbaggage, but I could see where your opinion comes from, though.
Yeah.
So I respect that.
Well, if that doesn't count, then I would probably say him just not beating, you know, Majin Buu when he could have. I'm talking about the very first fight when he was a Super Saiyan 3.
He could have annihilated him.
Yeah, and he just chose not to just because, oh, I don't want to be the hero anymore, whatever. But yeah, this is a pretty interesting the discussion, that word. This is a pretty interesting discussion, and we're curious to know what everybody thinks who's watching this video. So in the comment section below, let us know your thoughts on Goku as a righteous hero, and don't forget to also let us know your favorite scumbag Goku moment. But other than that, guys, do you have anything else you want to say?
No.
Well, I have one thing, but finish what you have to say first. You know.
All right. Well, the last thing I want to say is Dragon Ball Nation is so close to 3,000 subscribers, and I told them the challenge is to break that by the end of this weekend. So by Sunday, I challenge everybody to break that record, and if that record breaks, I'll break it even more. But Dragon Ball Nation, you have 10 seconds to tell people to subscribe to you. Go!
Alright, if you guys love Dragon Ball Z, Xenoverse, discussions, all the up-to-date news, come subscribe to my channel. Love to have you there.
There you have it, folks. Alright, Kwame, you know what to do.
Please remember to rate, comment, and to subscribe, because if you do, it'll help us all. And in the end, I hope you have a great day, guys.
Peace.